Kuro Games decided that instead of using a silver tongue to sell you their newest character, they would go with this one instead. Cantarella is one of the most diverse characters in Withering Waves, offering healing, solid damage, a coordinated attack, havoc and skill damage amplification for the next character, allowing her to take on a variety of roles. With all these different roles comes a ton of different Echo set options, but which one is best? Well, the answer is that it depends, and you'll see the answer in this video, but be prepared to start thinking about Echo loadouts. Thanks again, Kuro. In this video, we'll be going over what Cantarella's best sets are, and what substats you should be aiming for. The Echo substats have both attack percent rolls and damage bonus in their character's preferred stat to avoid stat saturation. The data in this video is derived from beta, and while changes at this point are unlikely, they are possible, so do keep that in mind. To test her out as a healer, we'll first need to go over solid team, being Cantarella, Rocha, and Camellia. As you can see, the results are quite interesting, with the Empyrean Anthem set being the best option here. While Cantarella has a pretty low multiplier for a coordinated attack, it can still help Cantarella's off-field damage quite a bit, giving her coordinated attack 120% damage bonus. Rejuvenating Glow can be a solid option as well, while falling slightly behind Empyrean Anthem's total team damage, mostly due to the coordinated hits doing less damage. It offers more utility with the damage reduction from Bellborn, and some added healing bonus for a more comfortable experience. As for Havoc Eclipse, although it does high damage for Cantarella, the amount of team-wide damage you lose is simply not worth it. Now we can look at her role as a support and healer. We'll be using Sanwa, Cantarella, and Jinxie for this test. Sanwa ends up being a pretty solid support, since the majority of Cantarella's damage scales with basic attack damage. Empyrean Anthem just barely gets a victory here, and Havoc Eclipse comes close since it gives Cantarella so many synergistic buffs. Do note that Empyrean Anthem will buff Sanwa for the second rotation, so we will end up with a slightly larger gap in strength, making Empyrean Anthem slightly better than shown here. Moonlit Clouds gives Jinxie the largest buff out of all the options, but since Cantarella's damage falls off so much, it ends up falling behind. So what Echo set ends up reigning supreme? Empyrean Anthem will be a solid choice for various types of teams, allowing you to run different characters like Shorekeeper with Rejuvenating Glow for harder content like Holograms, and is also very flexible, making it the winner for most content. Having said that, I'm personally building two sets for her. One will be Empyrean Anthem and the other Midnight Veil. Although Midnight Veil did not perform that well with these teams, currently there's no 5-star Havoc and skill damage character that can take full advantage of the 15% Havoc damage buff that can be passed on to the next character. A similar situation is when Jeja first came out. For the longest time, she was a decent option for Jinxie, but didn't stand out too much. With Renacita's release, we got Carlotta, which made Jeja feel a lot more complete. Since we don't have a 5-star Havoc skill damage scaling character yet, I'm pretty confident that Kuro is going to cook up something quite nice for us in the near future. And now we can quickly go over Substat Priorities. Cantarella is going to scale with basic attack damage. Her coordinated attacks, Forte Basics, and Enhanced Forte skill all scale with basic attack damage bonus. Because of this, your stat priority is going to be crit rate and crit damage as the highest priority, followed by attack percent and basic attack damage bonus, providing great value. If you're planning on going for her signature weapon, going for a crit rate 4 cost will be the way, since her weapon is going to give a ton of crit damage. As for what 3 cost to run, go with Double Havoc regardless of what set you're using. Even with Empyrean Anthem that will give Cantarella a ton of damage bonus for her coordinated attacks, it still ends up being stronger to go for Double Havoc over using one attack percent 3 cost. Whether you're farming for Empyrean Anthem or Midnight Veil, there's a 3 cost that you can farm much more easily than others, and that's the Nocturnus Knight. Nocturnus Knight, which has a 100% drop rate, can be both Midnight Veil and Empyrean Anthem, making it very efficient to farm if you're planning to invest into one or both sets. Here's a quick reference you can use if you want to mark these for yourself. I circled the Nocturnus Knights in red, but I also marked the Questless Knights as well, circled in yellow. Questless Knight can be both Midnight Veil and Frosty Resolve, making them not as flexible but still nice to farm if you have the time. If you're building Midnight Veil early, make sure you farm Lorelei, as she does give basic attack and havoc damage bonus for the equipper, making it perfect for Cantarella. As far as 1 costs go, farming the Nimbus Wraith, which are all around Lorelei boss fight, will be efficient, as this echo can be both Midnight Veil and Empyrean Anthem. Volt Scourge Stalker can be both as well, but since these are scattered and mixed with other echoes, they are a bit more inefficient to farm. Chess Mimic can also be both sets as well, but can also be Frosty Resolve. This means that you will have to deal with a bit more RNG to get the set you want, but really, who can resist a Mimic? And finally, my conclusion. If you're planning to heavily invest resources into her, going for your Empyrean Anthem will make her extremely flexible and provide the most team-wide damage in most scenarios. If you're not planning on pulling Cantarella's weapon, or planning on putting a decent 5-star option on her, or want a cheaper way of building her, Rejuvenating Glow is a solid option, as it's flexible, has a lot of utility, and provides really solid buffs. If you're prepping her for a future Havoc and skill scaling DPS character, and don't mind her being less flexible, building a Midnight Veil set will likely be her best set in that future team. With that being said, what set do you plan to build for her? Let me know in the comments down below. If you got some value out of this video, please leave a like and subscribe, as I make pre-release guides for upcoming Resonators, and we'll be making one for Zanny or whoever they decide to release next. And thank you for watching.